This is the Art Zone. 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 Hi, I'm Doc Slavkowski, and this is the Art Zone. We're coming to you from J.R. Kortman Center for Design downtown in the heart of Rockford's Cultural District. The art opening is truly a unique social event. Not only do you get a chance to see the latest work the Rockford arts community has to offer, but an opening is where intellectuals mingle with business people and artists chat with politicians, and people get a chance to meet new people. This Art Zone will take you to 3 Rockford openings. At Gallery 10, we'll get reactions to The Art of Death, a juried group show curated by Robert McCauley. Then an opening at the Clark Arts Center showcases the Bosley Collection, featuring folk and contemporary self-taught artists. Then we'll go to the Kortman Gallery and talk with Rockford artist Brent Jones. The Art Zone comes to Gallery 10 at River East, and we're going to get reactions to The Art of Death, an opening held in March at Gallery 10, curated by Robert McCauley. We're talking with Joan Becknell, one of the artists in the Art of Death show at Gallery 10, and she's sitting in inside her work of art. Why don't you tell us about your work here?
Well, this is a coffin chair, and it's a piece of furniture until it becomes another kind of a piece of furniture. Of course, the doors. Whoa. And then these latch here. And this is not finished yet. It still needs to be sanded, finish sanded, and the oil finish put on it. It'll be a natural finish. All of my paintings will be collaged then on the inside here for the finished, so it becomes part of the wood. This is a functional shelf, but it can come out. This is a piece of fabric that would take the place of, like, usually a coffin is a half coffin, so this would take the place of that. And these are little cast fish, and I haven't decided quite what I'm going to do with these yet. This cushion is also a pillow that would be up here for a person's head, for my head. It's been fun, it's been interesting, and he's been very excited about it. His words are
very morbid.
Oh, I don't think this is morbid.
Interesting.
But that's interesting.
What do you think about the theme? The theme of it is the art of death. Does that bother you in any way?
No, because if that's what people like to make art about, I think they should make art.
We're talking with Alderman Carol Jambers-Smith, who's attending the Art of Death opening at Gallery 10. Do you want to give us your reactions to the show?
It's real interesting, all of the different visions of death that are here. Some that seem kind of funny, poking fun at death, some that seem a little macabre. I really like all of the different statements that the people are making. It's an interesting mix of something that seems inevitable and we fight it, and then having some art about it. That's an interesting art being creative. Is death creative? I don't know. Death is celebrated through the arts, sure. And this is not something that you come and you're sad when you leave here.
Yeah. We're talking with Roland Poska, a Rockford artist who is attending the Art of Death at Gallery 10. Do you want to tell us your reactions to the show?
Well, first of all, I didn't know what to expect, but looking at the show, it's great. Some really interesting, creative things. And oh, I love that. And was it the deer? The deer one? Uh, the stand-in figure, the coffin, the what is it? The horns over there, the black case, black light case over there. Just some real neat things. Yeah, in fact, I was just talking to someone today, and I'm going to a funeral tomorrow. And I've never been to a funeral that I really haven't enjoyed myself. That there's something about it that it's not morbid. It's the person that died usually, hopefully, had a great life, and just like in New Orleans, they celebrate the funeral as a big celebration. So I see nothing wrong with it. I think it's just all part of the continuing process. I don't care about the art. I'm looking forward to death after seeing the art.
I think it's long overdue that it's been addressed, and I think it's tastefully done. I liked the piece over here.
I have to agree that I think that it's a good subject. It's a different type of subject matter. I think that it should draw a lot of people out to see something different here in Rockford. We seem to have kind of the same theme, the same pattern all the time. So it's a very interesting show. Everyone should really go out and see it.
I guess we've been collecting folk art for about 20 years. I was a collector, I just don't know how long ago, probably when I was in college I started collecting things. And when I first met Diane, I think she got bitten by the disease, and I don't know exactly how we got into folk art. We collect all kinds of things. And being around the Chicago area, I saw a lot of folk art that was just starting to surface in local galleries, and knew some artists that collected it. And I would go out to flea markets and just find anonymous pieces, interesting carvings, canes, constructions, things like that. And that's probably how we got started. But we're interested in a lot of things. We collect other things too. We collect Art Deco. We've collected other contemporary artists. I mean, we don't negate contemporary artists at all. Oh, we collect a lot of things, but our focus really did become directed towards the outsider, the untrained. But we're interested in Native American art. We have not a major collection, but a few pieces. African art, oceanic art. It's a pretty fascinating field. You can be a woman, a man. You can be urban, rural. You can be young. You can be old.
There seems to be a concentration of southern states. Is it more prevalent?
It's more prolific,
in the South?
but there's a lot of good artists all over. I mean, you can go to New Mexico, California, Oregon, Wisconsin. I mean, we have a couple of great ones. We're in Milwaukee. I'm at the University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee there, and in town there's been 2 or 3, I think, nationally recognized artists.
Here in Rockford, of course, there's Stephen Anderson, and probably people that aren't even discovered yet because they're isolated because of the climate. I've always wondered why the South, there is more, maybe it's because of the climate that you can do more environmental type of things, or people can drive by and see. Well, you know, a
A lot of it comes out of tradition of using your hands and having to make things, and then later on in life, being retired or older or not in good health, or your spouse dies,
and
you start wanting to talk.
Older people, I mean, it's common to hear somebody say, well, I didn't start until after retirement. Many of these pieces are from people that we know. We've visited their studios, their homes. We've traveled around the South. Gerald Dupree, we discovered from another folk artist who happened to have him in her studio. Wesley Merritt, who did the monkey and the dog, we visited him in Michigan. People we knew in Milwaukee who did the sign. Blackman, we know him, and Finster, of course, we know. But we've never actually focused primarily on people that we know today, but initially our focus was on people that were anonymous, and that's why we included a couple of anonymous pieces in our collection too.
So where do you house the collection when it's not like on exhibit in a gallery? Your house full of art.
We live with it. It moves around, and we live with it. We have it in the bathroom, the kitchen, the hallway, the living room, the bedroom, the kids' rooms, the basement. It's really something you live with, and we really enjoy it. Every once in a while, we'll focus on a different piece. You know, there'll be new pieces and so forth that all of a sudden we haven't seen for months. I mean, it's right there, but there's a lot of information.
It's always good when
quite
it's
busy.
out on exhibit, though, because then it gives us a chance to put something else on the walls that we haven't seen for a while. So. And
See it in the different purity as well.
Uncluttered is real nice.
Do you have a big house?
No, we have a little bungalow. Just a little
That's getting
bungalow.
smaller and smaller.
Yeah, I think you can detect amateur art from folk art, and I think it has to do basically with education. And sometimes there's a very fine line, and there's the memory painters who are basically a little more educated than the type of work, the self-taught work. It's really hard. I mean, there's a lot of people who make art, but it seems that the focus seems to be on those people who may not have the education that other people have, and I think this is where that distinction is, and it could very well be the rural environment, or the emphasis placed on education, and the emphasis placed on artistic involvement sometimes.
The impact of
just
outsider
goes.
art has been amazing on contemporary art. The LA County Museum just had a show called Parallel Visions: Modern Art and Folk Artists or Outsider Artists, and the impact is going to be, I think, is going to be much more revealed as to how impactful it has been on contemporary art. Maybe more than Picasso. I think a lot of influence when it came to Picasso. I don't know, but you have Rousseau, you have Dubuffet that are concentrating on this. But way back, I mean, it goes to the 17th century. Recent times, Max Ernst and the Surrealists were very influenced, especially by the Postman Chevel's Palace Ideal outside of Paris. That was in The Shock of the New by Robert Hughes, about 1980, I think, his television series and his book. But there's much more, and much more surfacing. So there's a number of things. There's all kinds of interesting things out there.
What's that like, giving up your work and having it go to a gallery?
Well, like Diane said, we've just been collecting this voraciously, and we put something else up on the wall. But we had a show at the university where it was out for about 4 months, 5 months, I guess, in storage.
And
it's kind of
you know,
sad.
it's kind of a give and take. We've traded pieces to get something better, so that the collection keeps evolving. And it's there are some pieces that we'll never want to get rid of. You know, they're too beautiful, or there's something about them. They may not be the best example of an artist's work, but there's just something about it that we just love.
Well, the title of the show, Only the Fireborn Understand Blue, comes from a Carl Sandburg book called The Rutabaga Stories. It's just a chapter in the book that there's nothing written on it, but the title is intriguing enough to make me want to use it. And most of the stories in there really are just like juxtapositions with little morals and just neat little stories. The artwork doesn't have that much to do with the stories themselves. It's more the use of the titles in the work, and there are some connections with that, but most of the things, the paintings, combination drawings, and works like that are combinations of things that I draw from a lot of naive outsider art, things that are from a lot of the art and the insane, as well as contemporary artists. I've chosen to do some really small works right now, and I'm real fascinated with that. And I've taken them and have encased them in these really large frames, which what it makes you as the viewer go in on the painting or the drawing itself by isolating it around or into a really large frame. You know, they're small enough that you might just dismiss them if they were just framed with something that would be according to its size. By putting something really large around it, just makes you focus that much more into the pieces themselves, which is also a device to get you into the painting. Well, a lot of the other things I do are a lot of work with found objects, and a lot of things that are encrusted into other objects, and changing the shape of things that at one time might have had some functional purpose, and using other objects as well to enhance or completely change the object into a whole other form. Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of the outsider artists that I'm really taken with, and they obviously do influence my work. We were talking about art of the insane. Adolf Wolfli, I'm just really taken with, and there's a lot of charm to his work. And he was a Swiss artist, late 1800s, early 1900s, that was in an asylum that later on they found all this work that he had done that is just phenomenal. There's a lot of influence from everything from the naive artists to even a lot of the tattoo artists that are sort of emerging with a lot of the flash work that they've done, as well as a lot of contemporary artists. There's the Italian painters that I'm really influenced by. Mimo Palladino is a strong influence on me and my work, and I don't know how else to explain that. And it's just something that happens.
Looking at the works going around, they're different for Brent. They're new. They're not what Brent's been working in lately. They're a new series, so they're really exciting for me to see an artist change. You know, it seems like an artist will work in a series for sometimes years and years and years, and then they'll start evolving into maybe something else. And this is a new evolution for Brent, so it's real exciting for me to stand back and see it kind of happen and see them in a good light. They're really wonderful.
It's always interesting to come here for the shows. It's always unique. A lot of great artists here, and it's just it's always something different. And the only problem is that one only has too much wall space.
Is there any particular piece here that strikes you?
No, I just usually walk around and look. There's one piece around the corner. I have a tendency, because of my eyes, to like the larger pieces.
Okay.
Because I don't see as well as I used to.
Okay. Thanks. Good.
I think a lot of the things that are happening here with the artists and the arts in this community are just phenomenal. Every time I leave Rockford and go elsewhere, and I go to galleries and go to museums, I'm always sort of pleased in the fact that the things that we as a collective do in Rockford sometimes is just as good, if not better, than the things that I see elsewhere. And it sort of makes you feel good as an artist. There is this sort of a community of artists that have emerged out of the Rockford area over the past, say, 10 years, 15 years, maybe even 5 years. And there's a strong influence with people through Rockford College. A lot of people who have graduated from there as well that have gone on and have become quite exceptional artists and quite well known. And through Rockford Valley College as well. And a lot of times those people really come together sort of form these bonds and these unions that sort of nurture and encourage a lot of growth in the arts. Well, I think you're always pleased, if not taken with the fact that someone else really admires and appreciates the work that you do as an artist. And sometimes that doesn't happen, and that's a chance you take. And it's also, I'm of the opinion sometimes it's even just as nice to get a negative response than to get a positive response always, in the fact that if you provoke someone to feel something, that they either really love your work or really hate your work, you've done something. And as far as relating to the work or having someone really, taking with it, that's such a personal thing, I can't say that that I have any message. The work is there, and the work comes from some place that I don't know. It's a need to be done. There's things that I really get in touch with and get real into. I can't. It's like myself, or when I go see things, I relate to things, and I'm really taken with things. Some people say they connect with things. Some people say that they really get into things, and it's like whatever it takes. It doesn't matter to me what or how someone either appreciates the work.
I really like it. I see Brent's work, but it was a long time ago, and it's pretty exciting to see. I haven't had much time to look. It's a typical art opening. I'm socializing more than I'm looking at the work, so I'll have to go back.
Well, being the art therapist that I am, I have to say I find his work to be very protected behind all the frames. A lot of thickness, a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions in his work, and it's very moving.
I think it's great. I really love it. I'm really drawn to the all the paintings that have black frames. The framing is wonderful. The whole show is beautifully framed, and the black paintings with the bright colors. I could see any one of them in my home. So
I like the scale. I like this kind of off scale, I guess. It's not what you have been brought up to expect. I like a small image like that draws you in. I appreciate that. I think it's pretty neat. I like the materials, and I like the texture of the painting too.
The spotted something. That's my favorite.
Okay, now you were commenting something about the cat devil thing.
Oh yes, well there's many of the pieces suggest a cat reference in the title, though there's these satanic undertones that may have some additional meaning there, which I haven't quite put together yet.
Well, it's just it's like this dialogue that goes on in your head. It's a story. Most things are stories, to myself anyways. I don't know if a lot of people see it that way or not. As an artist, there's things that provoke you, there's things that just stay with you. And they're either always there, or something might happen that stimulates you and makes you want to do things. It just depends on what specifics and dynamics there are in the things that motivate you as an artist. Sometimes just one thing triggers off a whole series of works, and one experience, or it could be the most minute thing, and you
Give
can.
me an example of that.
It's like going to a flea market and finding some sort of found object that just stimulates you so much that you have to have this, and you want to do something with it, or it spurns on other works. It's that sort of connection, that sort of like, it's like this little seed that's there waiting to just like grow.
So it would be like visual imagery. Obviously, what
Well,
you see.
there is a lot of visual imagery that stimulates me, but there's also a lot of thought process that goes on that, it goes from all the senses, sometimes sight, smell, touch, those things can provoke so much that it's real hard to say. I recently have just completed this whole body of work that it's just one little thing. And reading this book and the titles with that book sort of like made other things happen as well. And sometimes the titles don't even correlate with the work, but they sort of fall together. You know, and it's very difficult to explain. You can't, you know, explain the color blue. I mean, if somebody said that to you, how would you describe the color blue? You'd describe it with objects, most likely, or things that we're familiar with. But, you know, it's that connection that you can't define things sometimes. They just are.
Thanks for watching The Art Zone. We hope you enjoyed it. We would appreciate your suggestions and comments, and we hope you tune in again next time.